imba nyefe nye de omanye nyefe nye yi ana walada akengmene nwe wasa woba pe yebi ene tomobono ole nke bu ake. This is the only authoritative Gadangme platform in the whole Wamoko game where you are no quali Sanye ke wakwemi ene kan eke wakengme jeme ona boni ni yo. So mene we wasa woba eko she will call me down than where you are. Kawa be no go you mo where you just cannot go na sani what can the one bo ba can ya bu ke washing len again. Eke what move on ona boni ni yo. So come fit our here numo a job ofine na emisa ofine te oyo tem. Yes, that's right. Hubert, ofane be oye ojogba ye eseniami be no friend oyo ojogba. That's right. Okay, so let's go now. Ikebo no ko ake. I think I get Saturday before my start the show and I send me document go. So come back Saturday show any my fair. Nkebo ake inna no ko bi ane no shi nkebo ba yue later ake Gbese Mantse. And of course, come back Sunday la only my fair show nkebo. Nkebo ake ka ochine ka obaje wo show say shishi what me sure obaje wo week shishi what can no obaje shishi. So in like some of you have actually seen the document online. But many you know yo me tomoboni ole oba kande no oba bla mi ye gan mi ona boni ni yo ka gbene ke ni bi ko me ye se ke woke hambo ona this is why our show is different. This is why our platform is different. That is why I mean Kebuake, this is the most authoritative Ganangwe platform. You will not find this anywhere. And that is why I appreciate you as a family. You guys have made us number one. We are number one. We are number one. And it is all by your support, your encouragement, and your grace. So okleje anoni ejo nyefe so mene no jinoni wabagba esanie onaboni ni so once again welcome to the platform tumobeni nko budane wabagba no kwalepe bona any amenye. If they cannot match our intellectual acumen they resort to insults and lies and name calling. You understand what I'm saying? So once again, I just want to appreciate it. But you know what? You guys are so amazing. Anytime the text messages and the calls, like I could not have asked for a better family. Shout outs to you, man, Christy, funny boy, Ojuba. Shout outs to you, man. Yeah, nowadays I didn't you can claim. It's amazing. Like. For those of you that have reached out to me this week because of videos I appreciate you or I love you or you understand what I'm saying. We need to worry about more important things. So let's move on. But we are not going to stop what we're going to do. In Kabwake mie iana ke noko ate. Mie ke ya wolo mie bejana nile. Shiken na nile manole. And during the course of that, money, I'm about Male, I'm going Jamu but can't no bona. Can't no bona. But nonetheless, I appreciate every single one of you that reached out and that sent a message that actually called. You understand what I'm saying? So I appreciate every single one of you. We move forward. We keep moving. We are doing this for the love of Gadangme and our community. Like I said, without fear or favor. You understand what I'm saying? There is no amount of threat. There is no amount of insults. There is no amount of falsehoods that will change what we are doing. We didn't call ourselves. We did not call ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? So we'll leave them. So let's go on. So tomorrow I'm going to read to you that letter, but there is a little bit of a history behind Nakain letter. You understand what I'm saying? And Makabo Nakain history. If you now, those of you that have been here with us for about a year now, in Yeshua Kenyele Nakain history, she keji babia less than a year. You probably don't know. So no na your screen there no eba febo na kpake Miniji no need to tell you or miniji no need to discuss or you understand what I'm saying. But do not worry, I'll set the stage. I will explain everything to you. Like I said, we're not just going to sit here and blab and shout without any substance. You understand what I'm saying? We're actually going to give you a very so you will get everything. And like I said, my platform is always open to anybody. All you have to do is just reach out. We will equally give you the time to make your case. We have never denied anybody an opportunity to make a case. Never. What show any more track? Ni mo kake what you money boni wa you eja esumo neba sumoni eba jiena. Ni better. As a matter of fact, sometimes we actually do try or reach out to people to come on the platform, but you understand what I'm saying? So we'll tell you everything, we'll give you all the details. Like I said, we will go beyond the noise. You understand what I'm saying? We will go beyond the noise to actually bring you the facts. So once again, Boma they like him show me Bona. Ami Gonti no ni yangwe ko jani femo. Shout outs to you, Reverend Professor mene producer ke ko mefitai Imam kemine ko Sheikh Doctor Wulomo Taja Wulomo eblo for me there high priest Pina P Feko Jeremy title self ko kaye gweboli e go get fita DJ Pina P bay ebe size so wa fete so here we are bad ole noko before ni ma jeshisie benye kayo letter ne benye kayo letter ne nyani nge letter na acho anyi letter date go so let's deal with the letter. Like I said, today's show is going to be really quick. Was a ebak blanchi ebak I think you are going to ebak blanchi chon alo je naga manya correct me inga teacher. Anyway, so benye kayo letter ne. Now, so this was a letter ni the traditional council amenma kiamanya na kowa 8th May 2026. Kenya Bakai. Press release for immediate release. In a gala tane fe eba. Alon let tane jekbo because manyana kowa mo koni egon sempe traditional council na nengo wache ni adoto tintona. And of course, there was a serious backlash from the Sempe stool. No say me wanake the traditional council. Egma nikele tane kia manye na kowa. Miniji sani isani manye na kowa ekpa ni Sempe fai. Ekpa abola manche fai. Ni ekpa gan traditional council fai. Ni ekpa lumo fe lumo. Look, again, in the light of the recent social media statement made by Nakowa Omanyaba the first, the traditional council summoned the family from Abola, and she has been given up to Wednesday, 13th May 2026, to retract and apologize to Nii Adote Otinto the second, Sempe Manche, Nii Hayene Nunu the second, Abola Manche, the traditional council, and any other traditional title holder in the state. If by Wednesday she, once again, I think the word they meant to put there is defies. She defies these orders. The traditional council shall take further actions. So I know a lot of you will be wondering, okay, now, mind you, Manyanakowa Austria, not Australia, Austria. Jameji any bezo. So of course, she's not going to waste money. Ni eba che ticket. Ni eyaga for something ni if you ask me and the reason why ni min ke look esani moko I don't like it. I hate it. Esani mokojo lumoko. Esani moko ke lumo yu moko ne sa. Esani moko ko lumoko. Ni taflache eba kwe. They will behave. There is I'm a very serious. Right. So you understand what I'm saying? So look, anytime you go back in fact, look, shout out to you, Akuche. Akuche is in the building. Anytime you go back Mokwe, in fact, it is not something any of us should countenance. Yes, of course. Even from myself and from my panel, and even from some of you, every now and then, but generally, we can all admit and accept that you understand what I'm saying? So I am not saying this. I don't think I get money. Nakowa bache take it from Austria, ni Eyagan because of this, but I'm saying it because of the foundation. Ni ejo this all ni name. You understand what I'm saying? Now, manye Nakowa, whatever she has become is as a result of Kevin Taki. Look, and I know for the past couple of days, if you're tomorrow, ni wanting ye war Obashi let that match. But Ismoniwa put things into perspective. It's not because she's my auntie. You understand what I'm saying? Let's put things in proper perspective. Look, she deserves every vitriol you will throw at her because she's the master of vitriol. She is. She's the master of vitriol. So if somebody else is paying her back with a sort of vitriol, they put her out there. I'm not going to sit here and say I can't feel it. Okay. You understand what I'm saying? But whatever she did, it failed because of Kelvin Taki. And once again, I hope you will not be swayed by this meaningless gesture. And I'm calling this a gesture from the Traditional Council. I'm calling it a gesture. Do not be swayed. Kelvin Taki is not going to change. That is how he is. He uses people and dumps them and backstabs them. That is the sort of person he is. He's backstabbed you several times. He's not going to stop. He will keep backstabbing you. So I hope you are not going to fall for the okidoki. Tumobeni wako ya America. Don't fall for the okidoki. Because guess what? If you go back to this guy, he's going to repeat the same BS. You understand what I'm saying? And look, Jamie is Sanima Kebo. These are two people, right? Two people didn't you find your support all it. But on another create out when you think. You understand? Manya na ko wa bege Traditional Council yo. Ke manya na ko wa ke je boji director of operations. She Nii director of operations. No mo ke manya na ko wa. She doesn't work at the Traditional Council. So ke je manya na ko wa ke je boji director of operations. Ye Traditional Council. No mo nyole ne kele. She was told that by Kelvin Taki. Every single person in Manyanakowa Eje, Kelvin Taki, a blessing. She did that with the blessing of Kelvin Taki. You understand what I'm saying? No, Keji Eba, ne Keji Eboji director of operations, say, Traditional Council, and for her to have the power, if a recording, no more lenik ekele. You understand what I'm saying? And that is why I've been saying this all the time. Look, for those of you, Nick Kelvin Taki, that is his MO, right? And that is not going to change. You understand what I'm saying? It's demonstrated over the years. Okay, he uses people and dumps them. Nimene AUC anti ne dumple. AUC anti. And you know what? From what I heard, there was actually some sort of a meeting between Manyanakowa a family some folks from the Traditional Council, Kevin Taki and maybe one or two other people. That place, Nimin Kake, Eke, Akpa mo fame, New York traditional, Ekpa mo fame, traditional, any other traditional leader, Neje. Once again, me any traditional leader, ni manyanako wa jele because of Kelvin Taki. She didn't go out of her way. Look, she has lost. Look, once again, don't feel bad for her. Obanyo care like a baby akele, and she probably deserves it. She has lost family. She has lost childhood friends because of Kelvin Taki. Mene, any Kelvin Taki election. So for those of you, and I keep repeating it, for those of you, your day will come. Mene Kevin Taki, you think to like a fela we. I seriously hope I can watch a new tinto taflache eche to a way that we go to bar. You understand what I'm saying? Until ibana the necessary check money lady and cheta one. But mo fe money man na ko eje Kevin Taki buy me. Ni Kevin Taki na wale. Ni enwe look, I am told I can make poker me fake Kevin Taki no ko some sort of a contract. Never contract the anti. Can't you nuko epo? Oh no, nuko aga menen US and no look nuko aga menen Jemmy. You understand what I'm saying? But today, once again, if you want to pay auntie back with the same vitriol, I will not begrudge you. Go ahead. Like I said, she probably deserves it. But if I hope I can wafe one kaseni with a sort of gun. Ni wayomi biane. You understand what I'm saying? And shout outs to Niadoto Tinto. If I have my way, me personally, I will speak to auntie. Nimake auntie ake auntie. O fine ya ishiba mi. Niadoto Tinto komito out of mofemo na che. Niadoto Tinto komito bomodeni will reach out. Find a way to reach out. Ni o qualify. If I have my way. But I don't have my way. But anybody else, ni Kevin Taki demand ake akpalefire maka anti ake forget him. Ma je ni adoto tinto pe ni make anti ake anti before ni obakpa neke mene efe faye you need to start from ni adamalache ke amo Kevin Taki ake before no obakpa mene efe faye no ke ni adamalache aje shishi ko pa ni adamalache faye kono pa ni ya to gan fai ko pa ni ya to gan fai kono pa onukpa shorte ikome ni quote and unquote amebe Kelvin Taki say ni Kelvin Taki e wo o jame because ye bo susumo mi am support adamalache ke Kelvin pene aka pa ni adamalache fai no pa ni ya to gan fai ne pene ne nu shishi na kanye le anti mi po ma wana pa fai mi po ma pa fai e ko ma abu shike Kevin Taki e pene no ba je fai pa mo shishi ke ni adamalache ke ni ya to gan ke me ni fita me ni Kelvin ye wo o jame anti ka pa mo ko fai gama je ni ado to tinto pe Kevin Taki, if you ready, nenake lelake for a while you come o fe ni bi come ne sa no fio ni Kevin Taki enna the change of heart ni bi an efe yake ba chake be no ele no jeshishi ke ni adamalache ke ni ya to ga ke no kole fe ni taflache le Kevin he wo o jenne ke gbeme na efe ni before Kelvin amete me pio ka me ye fine o ka me yo jogbang ke Kevin Taki pene anti mi de nche ma kofo ma twabo ni ma wabo po ma no meseko ni ma pa faipo on your behalf He might fire on your behalf. But until then, you owe nobody an apology. Noni Kevin Taki sumo noena. Noni sumo noena. Ni Auntie. It's an old big Kevin. I know I get away you go. She kept about you. You see, no come no in no jacket. Eke na chocho so you fit ayake okpa na so cho you fight. Le Kevin enche ge tupen jobi klomo. Ahun kwa na chocho so you. Inka ake onupakpa gbeke fight me. Inpa mbi enpa me fight on countless occasions. Ken feni ne yin nim lenche na ken te too far mbi en cho me npa me fight. Me fo me lo me shin pa me fight. No nka ake ko ye moko nupa. Okakpa le fight. She fight pa mon akpa fight keke. Ako ake ani lele nton lo. Ani lele fe no ne sa lo. Manya na chocho so yo. Je Kevin Taki yin pa no. Ake le trabo. Bonita flache keji atemi anwe. Fa se biye. Ono ko jejen. Ili aka atwe nkpene no bi enwe ono ko jejen. She mami ke mi ake fa se some way somehow fa se biye. You are related. Well, you guys you grew up together. Really, mami ejemi onukpa Lante Francis le okame. Mami ne fa se ne le ni ma dakla jen kla le weta. She Kevin Taki Chabone Kebo Akebo. Owa nato na chocho so yo manye. Mene yin pa no. Mene yin pa no. Na chocho so yo Mene wa yu esa ne mene wa no jele. Kevin yin pa no ele. Na chocho so yo ni jele the legitimate paramount queen of English Alata. Ke ato manye na chocho so yo ba phone ne ba twa embassy ne ba ka ke manye ni English ala tabi etole akala aka tuni engo Kevin Taki na the whistle if you make a me feel that's what my mom told me. Yes. If you get a pete, it's that I think you will go bolly beni a connector. Oba fake pan will be no one get pan ala. Bona, again pan ala. Oh, fase, ye gamma ye fase. Sane fase, gamma ye fase. Bolly fase, yes la, fase, ye oh say opposite, fase, yeme. Dabi, je na chocho so you. Oh, Dabi, je na chocho so you. Okay, police can ton nke na chocho so you je. Dabi je na chocho so you. Eje. Minchon manya na akowa. Manya na akowa sane you. Thank you. Manya na akowa sane you. Ake somewhere somehow. Mami ke boli. Ba ye no ko komo ye fase. You understand? Yes. Mama, jame. Yes. Jame nchon. Pepe, nagan pepe. Bona, she Kevin Tra, nigga boa. Nini sanene jeno le we bodi ncho ogwe bi eko no daye. Ni o hwe jema o chose ha me. Kevin Taki yin pa no aka eko no daye. Ni ka jo bi omi o hwe jema Yeah. Bona. Yeah. O share jama anwe o chose ha me Kevin Taki na yin pa no. Because say trouble. No wa. Na to afe na chucho so you manye. No ken no ba ka ekpene. Obi hu na to bi le hu manye. Ye English alata. Chucho so ye ne no e kofo na e try me. Akele English alata manye. For the way. Ajumangu eje meje. Beja ajumangu. Ejaju mangu. She kofon. Beni manye monato le na fe kusum nyale. Ne te tuni ne move le e kofon. Ne chola akele le jingle ala tamanye. Enye ne che gafe Dzase manye. Kevin taki enye pano. Gafe Dzase manye ne ke hale. Gafe Dzase manye ne ke hale ayeko. Ayenoko na chole gafe state Dzase manye. Ayenoko na chole na kai. Ne wa keji oba yue. Te fi o te Kevin ba ke ba ko qualify. Ko pa na chocho so yo. Ne nye with titles upon titles upon titles upon titles. Ba qualify for the what? Na kele un ba fita ya kele un asano qualify yeko. Because so jele. Because e heni your bile de ne sa ne yo no ko ne komo eni ne komo begeme. E ya efe ne sa ne ya, efe ne sa ne ya, efe ne sa ne ya, e ya jeme. Ko you Kevin ko ba qualify. Kevin le un ekele ekpa mena, ekele fita mena sa no qualify eko. Eh? Ekele fita eko. No ne fi engo Kevin. Kevin will wala ke kofo ne try embassy ne ka ke aka recognize obile. Aka manyeni. You mene Kevin ko ba qualify. E go ba qualify. So you ne le wo the audios are there. No you nke ye body enche. Eni no dako ya hwe ejema obwe bi ejeme so you ne ofe audios even though open Kevin Takine no ewo. Any o childhood, Oliako spend o childhood ye game. Kevin Takine no ewo. O chose ha me. O chose ha me. Ona, so me auntie, okpa mogo fai. Ni aroto tinto le ma to le taflache. Ona, inkona ke yue ke je jage le ma jele yemi. Bona. She from BFA. Then you back pa me faye. Be sani Kevin akpene. Ni okpa ni adama la che faye kenklen. Ko okpa le faye. Okpa ni ya to ga. Kevin back pene na kele anti. Mawabu. No okpa mo fe mo faye. Meni me no ja hale le ngwena. Meni me ni oje hale le ngwena. Le be no ko yue mo. Le je sani. Shigme na shie kometo etajen. Without Nii Adoto Tinto, he is lost. Ena fio. A force will no qualify. No pachocho so you won't fight. The imposter. Abenoko na chole gamanye. Dzase manya. Abenoko na chole na kai. If she takes me anywhere, I will defend it. Anywhere. You no go be no fair ready you better make sure you have money. Wasting time your court. I'll counter sue you. No shamumpulu umpo ma yodi. No shamumpulu ma yodi. Because she is not the legitimate paramount queen of English Alata. She is not. So she's an imposter. And she can come here and sue me, take me to court. No one let me. She can come. No fair no need you or can get in the video ba chombu. She's an imposter. She is not the queen of English Alata. She is not. Alele. She ana atoye, amelele. Abenoko na chole gan state Dzase manye. Abenoko na chole na kai. Never. So for some of you, I'm not one. And like I said, you better make sure okay, you are ready because I will counter you. My family can lawsuit, my family US and you be a lawsuit, but get ready. No, I will counter you. I tell you, Akuche. Oh, Shaman Pulu Fema Eodi. Shaman Pulu Fema Eodi. You understand what I'm saying? Manyanakowa because of you, Kevin Taki. A family, a B, people that were closer to her because of you. And I'm saying this, not that me, I'm speaking for Auntie. But I'm saying this because those of you that are still around this guy, I want you to learn. Yemeninye noni manyanako wa efe Kelvin Takie nye bia nagbanye. This woman has sacrificed a relationship with her kids. All because of this guy. Once again, whatever vitriol you will choose to throw at her, she probably deserves it. I'm not going to sit here and make a case for her. Dabi. But we need to learn from some of these things. So, Auntie, every prominent person na ka fita yake okpa me fight the entire Ghana state because of Kevin Taki. No Kevin Taki ko akpa me fight Kevin Taki anyoye. And any other traditional order in the Ghana state ojame Kevin Taki. So Kevin Taki ko akpa fight bele anyoye. Ejake tafrache oye ko seke o te shigege no ba jeme. She may name me about Kevin Taki no job me. No Kevin Taki gang me no panic be me ne fire. But Kevin Taki anyoye. Anyoye auntie. Taego. O social security emo ko ye. No. Emo retirement benefit ko ye. No joy. You call a fight kono back pa. Sanok pa ni adama la che fai. Leni ofe le noko. Nok pa ni ya to gan fai. Ko nuk pa na me nye ni adama la che se. No tafla che okwa me nye no ke yue mo sha. Ek pa me. Ame. You understand? Not these other people. Ame ke Kevin ta okpa me fai ba sa ne nyo yin. Because oje han me. Oje han le. No le nyo yin. Shout out to you, Kaleche. You understand what I'm saying? Anyway, so Bamaden Jani Femo Yami Kiamoko ni Leun Ekehamoko. Like I said, now about our main story for today. Ni channel Ngene Jeshishidan. So that's what I've told you. That's the information I received today. What pissed me off is that Nacho Choso you beat. That's what pissed me off. Anti okpa 5 men okpa 5 what? Nacho chose so you fight for what? They impose. I mean, she's an imposter. And I'm ready for a lawsuit. Anyway, let's go on. Now, channel. For those of you that do not know, and this is probably the first time you are going to hear this, but I'm going to tell you, okay, there are two sects of Dzase Gbese. And this did not start from today. It's been there for a very long time. You understand what I'm saying? And hopefully this week and probably the week after, Obana, both sides. You understand what I'm saying? Koni Bodienche, you know how we do it. Bodienche will make our own conclusions, our own judgments. You understand what I'm saying? Koni Bodienche, but clearly, in title and follow place and a no bills and a and it just a conclude and the answer is yes, because there is no way. Right. You understand what I'm saying? There is no way ni Gbese Mantse Nii Ayibonte ni jenyo ledi enche own Dzase bahale warning. So that should tell you like Dzase ni your Gbese when is split. Born upon in here, and this is definitely no koni bolencho na akeshe look. Cover the entire Gun state. There's something wrong with the entire Gun state, and it's sad. Okay, this is what we find ourselves in. You understand what I'm saying? It's really, really, really sad. Now, sometime last year, Kenya Bakai, I did a story here. This other Dzase ni ame opposer ni Gbese. I'm a press conference. Ni ame ani wana wale ake. Ame a summon ni Gbese kete the Gun traditional council. Kenya Bakai inge niyama okpa babi ni babi ame sane ye. Mbabi niyama okpa sane ye. Beka batabi ane wana konoko don ni jikwe traditional council. But as a refresher for those of you ni ekole na ken video nyi ekpano alo nye kwe alo ba join ni wo echekwe. I would want to play the video for you. Bona. Koni okwe press conference ni Chemefe last year. Bona. Ke ingbena they actually released a hard copy of Noni Ameywe Inkenon ba like I said, come back here. Watch it. Radio Metal Nunu. Let money a leader of this group of Dzase. Kenya Bakai. Bona. Shout out to you, Man Rose. Ofane boy or juba. Man Rose eba fit away. So let me play you the video. Press conference ni amefe last year. Ken bena makane the hard copy ni of a statement ni ame release. Koni wabote mini wakwano ni eba yese. So let's watch it.
Dzase. The legitimate Gbese Dzase petitions the Ghana Traditional Council to rectify usurpation of Ghana Gbese royal stool. Good morning, distinguished members of the press, traditional authorities, and fellow citizens. We, the legitimate Gbese Dzase, that is the Council of Kingmakers, hereby represented by...
So right out of the gate, this group is claiming legitimacy. They claim they are the legitimate Gbese Dzase. And of course, you know very well, the Dzase that is supporting Nii Gbese would like to have a word or two about this. So, but let's go on.
Nii Akosoku II, who is the head of Penshiaku Way, Shiawulu. Nii Akote Krobosaki, the fourth, head of Akote Krobosaki Way. Nii Okanja Nuba, elder of Tete Nkama Way. He is presently indisposed, but he is being represented by Principal Stone Elder. Numo Okainketeku I, Gbese Shipi of Anaji Way, Aneji Way, and then Nii Ashifi Metonunu, that is myself, head of the Nyang Abodiamo Way, Kreshi Way. We stand before you today, not as individuals, but as custodians of Gbese tradition and legitimate guardians of the sacred Gbese stool. For generations, the Gbese stool has symbolized unity, leadership, and continuity within the Ghana state. Its succession is governed by the 1941 Gbese Succession Agreement, repeatedly affirmed by the Supreme Court of Ghana and rooted in the unbroken customs of our ancestors. Unfortunately, these sacred foundations have been disregarded. A man named Thomas Okain, who styles himself as Nii Ayibonte II, has unlawfully and fraudulently occupied the Gbese stool. His so-called installments violates the 1941 agreement, ignores the binding Supreme Court rulings, and bypasses the essential customary rights and oaths required of every legitimate Gbese Mantse. This is not merely a dispute over titles. It is an existential matter for the stability of Gbese and the dignity of the Ghana state. When custom, law, and judicial authority are undermined, peace itself is endangered. Therefore, we have formally petitioned the Ghana Traditional Council to 1, suspend and investigate Thomas Okain immediately. 2, declare his installments null and void. 3, enforce strict compliance with the 1941 rotational succession system under the authority of the legitimate Gbese Dzase. Once this illegality is corrected, we, the legitimate Gbese Dzase, are fully prepared to commence the lawful installment of a legitimate Gbese Mantse. This will be in strict accordance with tradition, the 1941 succession agreements, and the rulings of the Supreme Court of Ghana. In conclusion, we call on the Ghana Traditional Council, the media, and the people of Ghana to stand with us in protecting our heritage. This is not a fight, not only for Gbese, but for the respect of custom, the rule of law, and generational stability. Thank you very much.
Right, so there you have it. Now, so just so you know, look, clearly, Keji Okwe, some of the cases, and I have a lot of the cases, right? But I think there are two main important ones. And because Yanuchume won na training like in na benima candle but anima both into the nitty-gritties of it. So I just have to glance through them. So we can say it's been an issue. Now, case ekome ni agbena recently in the Supreme Court, which is I believe that was the latest one agbena. It started from 1980. 1980. A lot of the young ones ni won kwe show e biane no mi afogo. So kege 1980, that would be what, 47, 46 years, maybe. Yes, Gbese Mantse. Say kankoshi ye to enjole mi. Nino echano ya kebashe noni wanyemi bia no lo ni wanyemi olo. Now I'll give you all the details. Give me 1 second. Anima kane noni wache Roger Metal Nunu. Ti actually ten onani ewie bona koni yes thank you 46 years nya woboti ami ni minta o makane koni wa go line by now mind you this was last year mean build the kemba I want you to have a comprehensive understanding of everything ona boni ni yo ke ni ke owie ye ko ke ona boni o ba yuele nakan. The legitimate Gbese Dzase petitions traditional council to rectify usurpation of Gbese royals too. Clearly, the traditional council 16 September 2025. So from September to now, that's about what 7-8 months, right? I'm a chuko no go ye. Once again, we came in our story no cover. We covered this story that same week. I'm a kind of good morning. Let me make sure you guys can see. There we go. Okay, good morning, distinguished members of the press, traditional authorities, and fellow citizens. Okay, we, the legitimate Gbese Dzase Council of Kingmakers, hereby represented by Nominke Abuake, clearly, as to whether they are the legitimate or not, the other group of people, Nii Ayibonte form or Dzase Kehani Gbese, they would like to have a word or two about it. You understand what I'm saying? Now, this Council of Kingmakers at this side of the Dzase, na me represent me Nii Teko Akosoku Niji Enyo, head of Penshaku we Shiawulu. If you remember, Nkele Edna show ye be down one time ko. It was supposed to come back, but unfortunately, Wanyeko ni wakele Abadon. You remember him? Inte yenko again with Bolly. If we blame a punk, nice man ko. Yeah. I think I get ko enjoy more undercut. But you remember I brought him here. Nii Akote Krobosaki, the fourth head of Akoto Krobosaki we. Nii Okanja Nupa, elder of Tete Ankama we. Numo Okan Keteku the first. Gbese Shipi Anaje we. Ke Nii Ashrifi Metal Nunu Leji Moni Wanani Kande Nii, head of Nyang Abodiamo Kreshi we. Stand before you today not as individuals, but as custodians of Gbese tradition and legitimate guardians of the sacred Gbese stool. For generations, the Gbese stool has symbolized unity, leadership, and continuity within the state. Its succession is governed by the 1941 Gbese Succession Agreement, repeatedly affirmed by the Supreme Court of Ghana and rooted in the unbroken customs of our ancestors. Now, we went into the 1941 agreement. I have it again. I am sure we will get a response. I am sure. As I'm sitting here tonight, I don't know. Maybe getting Gbese Nkwemie. It would I find but mind you, Gbese social media no. So call now response from the Gbese Stool Council Gbese can order machine. In Kebo the last time Biamini Katamantuan Bobloshi Sani a bar more famous from granting interviews and participating in any sort of media no without a approval. And I heard that directly from Gbese. Nobody told me this. You understand? That the last time I was telling you about my sources, but I heard that directly that time from Gbese because I had wanted to add to have Nyama Okpa on at the time, and Gbese told me again, no, he's not coming on. I don't want him to come and say anything. I want to minta umakwe no de ba na titon. So Gbese personally told me again, e ba mo femo. There was a meeting and he told everybody again before no about social media, no about discuss no kwe. Talk to him first. No seek a permission. So, like I said, we may not get any response from the Gbese Council. But we spoke about that this 1941 agreement. We spoke about it. I'm understanding from Gbese Mantse Nii Ayibonte. It will be the understanding of the whole thing. How only follow this old 1941 agreement. They believe they are following it. And they've not done anything wrong. They are actually following the tenets of that particular agreement. If you guys remember, the agreement was in two folds. Ekome talk about the succession plan, and then Ekome and what they are entitled for in terms of position. You understand what I'm saying? ke agbene to position say what their responsibilities are for each position ni abato. If you guys remember, we went into that. Like I said, if I'm able to get them over here this week, they will probably have to go in through this thing again, because the people that did this press conference, they are the same people. I'm a lawyer, Igma letter keba. Now, unfortunately, these sacred foundations have been disregarded. A man named Thomas Okine, who styles himself as Nii Ayibonte, has unlawfully and fraudulently occupied the Gbese stool. His so-called installment violates the 1941 agreement, ignores binding Supreme Court rulings, and bypasses the essential customary oaths required of every legitimate Gbese Mantse. So what they are saying is that Gbese Tony Atole and the 1941 agreement, Gbese be fair sign all the Shian GFA New York Gbese. There was an agreement assigned in 1941. Gbese Mantse a violate neke agreement ni assign. There are rulings coming from the Supreme Court. Nike a go by ye be esani Gbese yano ni your Mantse. And of course, ya msusumo mie naka Gbese Mantse ni yano ni ye a violate neke ni bi ne ekom. This is not a dispute over titles. It is an existential matter for the stability of Gbese and the dignity of the state. When custom, law, and judicial authority are undermined, peace itself is endangered. Now we're chatting. Therefore, we have formally petitioned the Gun Traditional Council, 1, to suspend and investigate Thomas Okine immediately. 2, declare his installment null and void. 3, enforce strict compliance with the 1941 rotational succession system under the authority of the legitimate Dzase. Once this illegality is corrected, we are fully prepared to commence the lawful installment of a legitimate Gbese Mantse in strict accordance with tradition, the 1941 succession agreement, and the rulings of the Supreme Court. Now, just so you know, Gbese is gazetted. If you go to the National House of Chiefs, he's the gazetted Gbese Mantse. Just so I want you to have this at the back of your mind. He's the gazetted Gbese Mantse. Because the National House of Chiefs say, legbe yo jeme as the Gbese Mantse. Time now atole money she jeme before leba. And I have to actually request for it if possible. Ninke chombo. Nyo na money se ni yo no kwe the afiabo ni yo te. You ba na ke sanjine che. It didn't start today. Like I said, 1980. It started from, and I'll give you the briefing before Obagbina. So now, in conclusion, we call on the Gun Traditional Council once again. The Gun Traditional Council, clearly, they've not done anything about this. They've not even written to Nii Gbese on this particular issue. They've not even written to him on this particular issue. You understand what I'm saying? The media and the people of Ghana to stand with us in protecting our heritage. This is a fight not only for Gbese, but for respect for custom, rule of law, and generational stability. So I think this pretty much settles Nakaino Noni Ina. So this is what they said in September of last year. Once again, challenging Ake Gbese if Etoeni Atole follow the 1941 agreement. Like I said, Gbese and his people will completely disagree with it. They will bring you their evidence and tell you the story from their point of view. Ni agbenenwe US Supreme Court rulings jinkomeuni kaji ayeno then besa ni Gbese ya no ni Eyomantse Gbese menwuke obuametoe, of which, if you remember my show with Niamo Okpa biamini nekenoko ne ejekwe, he made the case as to why ni noni ameyu of akeka botuepo. Now, one interesting thing ni Amokpa UAG ake, all the houses ni onani chemene represented. Ameye onukpa ye jeme ni nakan onukpa ye hue ameye Gbese council e. So every single house ni onaye bi pensiaku we akote klobosaki we tetankama we ke anege we aneje we neke shiaji na efe no na New York Gbese ke ote the Dzase na me support or Nii Gbese ame shi onukpa efitai. You understand? So every single person ni ona ni egbe ye neke wolone no akeshia onukpa ni ye ekwe eye another person just the same shia ni le un legi shion nupa ni eke ni Gbese nchuni. You understand what I'm saying? So cheme ni o na me yo je me fin, right? Shia mi na me je ame shion nupa konklo me. Ni ame form Gbese Dzase ni Gbese ka me chuoni. Nika ote Gbese Paramount Stool ameni I register me amena me be yo Gbese Paramount Stool wo ji amin ake ameji shine no na afen weku iche ni yo jeme. So have that at the back of your mind. So it's not like weku iche ni yo shine na afen ni yo Gbese shishie ame supporting in Gbese dabi. They are heads from this same family. Ni amenu ame support on in Gbese ni amo ame na ni Gbese ake manche eye lojo gba totomo go be. Do you understand what I'm saying? So and another head of Penshaku way, if it Nii Gbese, another head of Akoto Krobosaki way, if it Nii Gbese, another head of Tetankama way, if it Nii Gbese, another head of Aneje way, if it Nii Gbese. You understand what I'm saying? And like I said, this has been going on for a very long time, at least from what I read today, as far back as 1980. So I believe I can Nii Gbese Mantse Pesemankubo in the 70s. So clearly you can tell from time Nii Gbese Mantse Pesemankubo say joko anako moko ojobe. There has been countless litigations upon litigations upon litigations and upon litigations, and maybe in the near future, if time permits, we will read some of these judgments. Say koni ona sanjin eyale wa, and of course mobeni kebwe. Ni amefene last year with their petition, Gan Traditional Council. I'm sure they've not heard anything from the Gan Traditional Council, because the Gan Traditional Council, he has not even received any document from them. And of course, I believe these people, they've probably been waiting for a while with a hope they would get a response from the Gan Traditional Council. But I can respond say bah. No, because I can respond say by I'm a lawyers a right to Nii Gbese, and some of you have seen it, some of you haven't. And this is what Saturday at Tony in the channel, Saturday before my starting show, and in Kenya, but I didn't tell you what exactly I had received. No, bakane ni wakwe no ni ameke ye no umi ni. I'll give you one of the cases koni kande koni ona noni poten ni yomi. You understand what I'm saying? Watch it's just going to be this short. Well, Baba be for another show. Friday, or Baba be with another show. Saturday, we will have another show for you. And possibly, if we have to come here Sunday for no conclude, then we will. Yeah, me 1 second. Okay, text me. No, I'm trying to see. If I'm a boli, impromise mogonogo, so more kaini. Yeah, once again. Oh yeah. That will be for tomorrow. Bona. Anyami, that will be for tomorrow. No. What show any nkabahabu any wanyami konkaimi. That will be for tomorrow, not for this show. Tomorrow. Another show on Omanjo. So let's go on. Let's see. Noni, I'm releasing this weekend. Ni in the channel. Miniji noni na kain wolu unke. Nyani wakbeli anaken wolu ni wakania ni wakwa noni ame yue yemli. Okay, agbene I'll give you a little bit of history. Bona, Nii Menenkane said, I have about 6 court documents. Bona, but the most recent one, I'll just give you the synopsis of, because it was about 30-something pages. And of course, I couldn't do that whilst I was working at the same time. So I just glanced through in some of the so let's read Noni Chemen release this same Chemen in track led by Roger Metal Nunu what do you call it? I'm a press conference petition get a traditional council last year. I'm only this week name last week I released this statement it was actually from their lawyers. Let me zoom it out a little bit. Ni Makande Mahabo. So let's go on. Let me do it this way. Yeah, I'm 1 second. Yeah, me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Right. Yeah, ni mafia leko. Bona. So noni ona your screen there no ike Akwete and Associates, solicitors and advocates of the Supreme Court of Ghana. All right. So without prejudice, save us the cost. Notice of contempt, risk, and demand for immediate compliance with Supreme Court judgments. So that's they're just saying okay, Nii Gbese is a risk being cited for contempt, Bona, because he's not following what the court said. Akeshi Afi. So na Igbe Ejeme to Mr. Thomas Okine. Nii Ayibonte II, Gbese Mantse's palace. Ona Ejeme from counsel for the Gbese Dzase, Akwete and Associates. Mind you, in Kebwake, Bay GFN ni Ona, Ejeme, Ake Shia Onupa Ijiame, Ye Shia ni form of Gbese Dzase. There are people who from Nakanshia Giano, ni ame Shia Onupa Ijiame, ni ame Ameji Dzase, na ame supporting Gbese. So it be fair, like I said, have that at the back of your mind. You understand what I'm saying? It's more of I carry no go get your free. You only have half of the information, right? So counsel for the Gbese Dzase, there is another Dzase who I'm a counsel. Fair Gbese, you know, and I'm sure they will probably respond as well. But as and when I'll bring it to you. So unlawful representation of the Gbese stool and continuing non-compliance with Supreme Court judgments. Introduction. We act for the Gbese Dzase, the lawful custodians and keymakers of the Gbese stool. We are instructed to place you on formal notice of the serious legal consequences that will arise should you continue directly or indirectly to first bullet point. Represent yourself as having authority over the Gbese stool. Act in any capacity as Gbese Mantse, or rely upon or promote claims founded on proceedings inconsistent with binding determinations of the Supreme Court of Ghana. And that is why, because I'm mentioning a just a synopsis of one of the cases. Nino, it traveled all the way from 1980. Koni Ona. Number 2, binding effect of Supreme Court judgments. Under Article 1293 of the 1992 Constitution, the decisions of the Supreme Court are final and binding on all persons and authorities. It is well established that no person may disregard or circumvent such judgments. No tribunal or individual may derive authority from proceedings declared invalid or defective, and any conduct inconsistent with such judgments is unconstitutional. Legal position on void proceedings. You are aware, or ought reasonably to be aware, that proceedings conducted without jurisdiction are nullities and incapable of conferring legal rights. The law is settled that a void act, 1, produces no legal effect, cannot be relied upon, and cannot form the basis of any lawful authority. Any continued reliance on such proceedings is legally unattainable. Contempt risk. Take notice that any attempt by you to hold yourself at Gbese Mantse, represent the Gbese stool in any forum, participate in or initiate proceedings founded on invalidated processes, or publicly assert authority contrary to Supreme Court determinations may constitute contempt of the Supreme Court of Ghana. Contempt includes conduct that undermines the authority of the court, interferes with the due administration of justice, or seeks to defeat or evade the effects of its judgment. Demand. So, so no, I mean, UFA or not, no, to my can earlier on, I make Gbese Betron Kome, alo Sanayeli Kome, Eja Supreme Court Teba, ni Yamsusumomie, noni boni amusani na ke boni kenoni court ka fe ni Gbese ke chu ni ke ofe na ke be oche court yin atwa ni agbene nwe keji ofe no ko ni court ke obey wale ni okoba chu na kan ni isa no li ake no ni ba je na kan no ni fe mo no ba fe mi fe ne ba na kan no anya ake chu ni because obey wale ni obanye ofe na kan no ko in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? Agbene wa men ke ni Gbese ake ekpe hold him as Gbese Mantse because ya mesusu mo mi follow mla ni mla anye atwa so mini poten ni ametawo na mefe. What are they demanding? You are hereby required to immediately cease and desist from 1. Representing yourself as Gbese Mantse or as having any authority over the Gbese stool. I can no fear any call Gbese ni Gbese akpa hold mark eleji Mantse ni le yo ewale ye no. Number 2, engaging in any proceedings or actions inconsistent with Supreme Court judgments. If any be to mobani nkebwe ni judgments ni the Supreme Court ekeba na kan bi na efio ekenokpagbe. Number 3, making public statements or representation asserting such authority. Ekata manjano ni ewe eye ewaleko ni ebe na kan ewale. Notice of intended action. If you fail to comply with this notice, our clients have given firm instructions to proceed without further reference to you to 1. Invoke the enforcement jurisdiction of the Supreme Court under Article 2.1. And so Article 2.1, lawyer seek orders of injunction, prohibition, and certiorari. You know what an injunction is, right? I injunct moko. Prohibition. Same thing. Certiorari. You know what certiorari is? When you ask a bigger court to review what a lower court has done. Bona. That's what a certiorari is. Initiate contempt proceedings and pursue all consequential reliefs, including cost. Opportunity to comply. This notice is issued to afford you a final opportunity to regularize your conduct in accordance with the Constitution and the authority of the Supreme Court. Failure to do so will leave our clients with no option but to take immediate action. Number 8, reservation of rights. All rights of our clients are hereby expressly reserved. Yours faithfully, Lawyer Bright Akwete, our very own Lawyer Bright Akwete, for and on behalf of the Gbese Dzase, the National Security Coordinator, the Regional Police Commander, the Minister for Chieftaincy Affairs, and Registrar at the Gan Traditional Council. So this is what they are saying. They are pretty much threatening Nii Gbese with contempt. I don't know threat is the right word for me to use in this instance, but they are telling Nii Gbese keji a holding stop itself from holding from saying he has this authority over Gbese ni ebe, then they will be left with no choice than going to the court to make sure some of these judgments are enforced. Now, before any man more here, of course, you already know. I'm a pinning on my text mommy hi if you would want to say something. Because there is really not that much to say with this. So in Kebake, me in Kenoko table, so ni letter I have to make sure I only any letter. It doesn't matter who the letter is about. You understand what I'm saying? As I owe it to you, as my audience, need trust on me. You understand what I'm saying? So no one in minute of your show name. So now, if you want to say hi, you can. Can be done. Come here, no more than what you can call it a day. So now. One of the cases, it's been going for a very long time. You understand what I'm saying? It started as far back as 1980 to Mo Boni in Kebwe. And I think that is the key one. Ni wachemene amedumono. If you ask me, I think, like I said, I think that is the main one. If they want to do anything, they will probably refer back to it. Once again, come back join the new layer. In earlier, Nii Gbese is the gazetted chief. So tumoboni me ko make twa wo yin ka wo yue ni me ona wo yue ashimashi esane ni me ko make twa wo yin. If we have to go on that tangent ni ame ya administratively he has the power to represent Gbese until that is stricken out. You understand? Tumoboni ame call wake a strike out ni adama lache no so ebe wale koe until Gbese gazette is stricken out you will say okay, administratively he still has the power to do what he is doing. He's the only person in government that I recognize. Brother, Benjana Kashimashi, Kame you are call wage I'm a manche legbe your gazette me. She was manche be gazette me. Because of manche no mean have a strikey. Bona. So Gbese is gazetted. Court the National House of Chiefs says he's the gazetted Gbese Mantse. You understand? And until that will be stricken out as well, he will continue to perform functions, a perform or legitimate government recognize until that is stricken out. Tumoboni will be a fake kululu ni astrake ni adama lache no out. So I want you to have this this information at the back of your mind too. Again, Gbese is the gazetted chief of the Gbese Paramount Stool, called the National House of Chiefs. Now, case any nkabo you all. So and it start from 1990. Now, Nemo keneke case in it. If you ask me, I think this is where they probably make a case say why. Now, Nii Tete Ayinakwa the second leji wekuicho ye akwete krobosaki wi le easiu Nii Ayite Agbofu ye Gan Traditional Council. Now, minijino ni nomie etaoni Gan Traditional Council afiyale. A challenge Gan Traditional Council ake a challenge Nii Ayite Agbofu ake Nii Ayite Agbofu enye manche. Eshagwa ameno. Niwo Nii Ayite Agbofu nye manche. Mind you, at the time Gbese J Paramount Stool ni. Gbese was a divisional stool. Bianele Gbese Paramount Stool ni. Bona, I mean elevation there. But in 1980, Gbese was a divisional stool. So Amekasaniete, the traditional council, ni aye ni aha make Nii Ayite Agbofu eshakwa ameno ne sa ni le yo manche. We wo aye manche yele yede. Koni agbene nwe Gbese properties fe ni yo ede ni ahe ye Gbese man ahe ye le Nii Agbofu edi. Koni akena the right house ni eshame no ni ameto ame manche. Kona ame take over Gbese properties. Once again, Nii Tete Ayinakwa the second 1980 at the time eleji tumobeni nke bu akote krobo saki we wekuicho so like eneke lawsuit nete. Now it take a traditional council about 5 years, right? Ni ameye sanie wache Nii Tete Ayinakwa ni jienyo ni leji akote krobo saki wokue. He didn't understand. I mean, he didn't agree with the decision. The decision went against him. So you can say, okay, the decision in 1985 affirmed Nii Ayite Agbofu as the manche. You understand? But of course, Nii Tete Ayinakwa ni jienyo akote krobo saki onukpa at the time, he didn't like it. So a file an appeal kete the regional House of Chiefs. Bona. Koni regional House of Chiefs ata Sanieno, right? Ni amekwake ani tiacholete and the traditional council banye eye na kan I'm losing train of thought if you get me. And the traditional council banye eye na kan Sanielo. First of all, ni ejemi Nii Tete Ayinakwa ejemi. Like I said, I just glanced through it. Ni a substitute na ke ba. The other side there challenge ake and a substitute ni ake ba, right? And in a substitute there, ni it represent ni teta ina kwa the second low Monique Saniete in 1980 bona ni agbofu challenge nakaimo a capacity whether ebanye a represent shia me. You understand what I'm saying? Now ni Saniete jeme regional house instead of them about dealing with one the Sanieni akabang mame here, they went further. They actually sat on the case as to whether ni agbofu banye eta seno alo enye eta seno. Now, mind you, regional House of Chiefs say affair jeme for paramouncies. So Sanjini ayo jeme paramount stools Sunday ni ayo jeme. You understand what I'm saying? Paramount Stool Sunday ni ayo ye regional House of Chiefs. She ni ake divisional Gbese divisional at the time. Once again, Gbese was not a paramount. Now ke Sunday te regional House of Chiefs ni as aywe ake ha me whether now I may decide as to whether moneba substitute what you need that aina kwa niji enyo ebanye substitute the loni case say aya no ameye no pe but they took it upon themselves to actually sit on the case. Now the regional House of Chiefs said they didn't make the decision alone. Lawyer say any represent God can the Supreme Court judgment there. Lawyer say any represent both parties say agree okay regional House of Chiefs say atasane no na me fe mini ni ameye. That is what both lawyers now may represent both parties say ni ke sane te ona instead of ni akete ni abaye as to whether this person ni eba substitute ebanye a substitute ke amoni ke sane eba loe. They didn't only decide that, right? But they actually took it upon themselves to actually adjudicate the case. Meanwhile, it's a regional house. Jeme paramount is an epa jeme. Aye divisional cases jeme. Divisional cases are reserved for the various traditional councils. Ni division say yo me. You understand what I'm saying? And of course, at the time, ni ne case and jeme no me I elevate Gbese into paramountcy. You understand? So clearly, Obanake regional House of Chiefs say ko okwemla be ame ko ewale koke ha me ni naka ewale ame be naka ewale. And like I said, I'm not blaming them alone because both lawyers ni I'm a representative of both parties say ko kind of judgment they agreed. Okay, regional House of Chiefs atasane no nyunglo ni ameye. And of course, ni regional house yesane ameye against the faction ni supporter ni Aite Agbofue. And I believe it was based on Nakansani ni aye against the faction ni supporter ni Aite Agbofue no ni adomo ni beba ni femakebe aketo ni Gbese alo ba akebe ani ni Gbese to me ya to ni Gbese. Can you guys tell me? Because this case aye 2003 original House of Chiefs say bona no ni na me dumo. So if anybody knows, maybe Atoni Gbese. If you know the year, please let me know. Yo. So ni efe na kanye the other side there I'm a lawyer say a challenge case say get the Supreme Court dabi regional House of Chiefs be ewale ni amebaye na kansane. First of all akesane 2004-2005. Okay, right. So yeah, thank you Kush. So na agashi ruling 2003 eje mina chole, what do you call it, the regional House of Chiefs. You understand what I'm saying? So ke okwe they challenged it among several things. Now in addition to Nakansania, there was this same case Ekoyaje, the High Court, and of course you know cause and matters affecting chieftaincy it starts off from the traditional council to the regional house to the national, then it goes straight to the Supreme Court. But somewhere, somehow, a part of this case, yaje the High Court, ni judge eko a ruling no ko ye no. You understand what I'm saying? I would find time. No, I'm a candidate name. I'm just giving you the synopsis of it. So Nii Ayibonte side at the Supreme Court. I may challenge that ruling from the judge Nii High Court. They also challenged the jurisdiction of the regional House of Chiefs to adjudicate a divisional stool Sunday. You understand what I'm saying? And of course, the Supreme Court attack said no. They ruled against, for lack of a better description, Gbese side there. One, okay, regional House of Chiefs say I'm overreach because I can send a bar now. I can send a bar now. I may decide on something. So now I make a decision as to whether more by substitute or substitute. It's an issue. I make kick case back. Here, the traditional council, only traditional council attack case no, because it was a divisional case. You understand? But they took it upon themselves. Ni attack case no. Ni jame paramount chiefs and the Jinoni ayo jame at the time Gbese was not the paramountcy. You understand? So Supreme Court no. Regional House lack jurisdiction. Ni abatu neke nokwe. Mind you, at that time, no me atoni Gbese omo. Because the judgment from the regional house once again, for lack of a better description, went in favor of the people that support Nii Gbese. You understand? So when they got that judgment there, I'm sure they went, they did their own thing. You understand? That is say me, I challenge the Supreme Court. So atoni Gbese omo. Then in the case in the Supreme Court ni aye. And of course, because of jurisdictional issue, some other technicalities they lost. You understand? Now, ever since then, no go mindon. Like I said, Nii Gbese has been gazetted. He is working as the Gbese Mantse. These people, they've not really done anything legally until now. This is what they will do. Nii Gbese does not do the needful. So there you have it. I needed to read that letter to you, give you a little bit of the background. Now, like I said, this is one of, I think, 2 or 3 cases or so. No, you know, but I think I can this side I may do more no wa. Okay, Supreme Court rule that judgment from the regional House of Chiefs is invalid because regional House of Chiefs did not have the jurisdiction. Because at the time, Gbese was a divisional stool. 2007, thank you. Gbese was a divisional stool. You understand what I'm saying? Ni esani ni ame decide ake more ba anye substitute alo nye substitute esani ame ke traditional council back ni aye esani jeme. Then ka ye atan ye jeme ni nokuba because mind you the traditional council when they clearly did not sit on the on you understand what I'm saying? So back ya jeme back ni ebagbe na ye any ebagbe na ye. Bona so there you have it about letter ni a lot of you have seen ni na week ni circulate on the various WhatsApp platforms me post your Facebook. So this is the other side of the Gbese Dzase. This is the case they are putting out there and this is what they are saying. So I don't know what processes they would take up next. I don't know what their plans are, but as and when we're here, of course, this is the most authoritative Gandangwe platform in the whole wide world. You are on the most authoritative Gandangwe platform. As and when I make any move, I will let you know. Now, I am sure I can be an if show response go back get Nii Gbese compare ba. Can I can respond say ba mabama tabia ni kama habo. Can response go eje men way ba. Ni no conclude ajekole hu ya mi I will let you know. You can clearly tell like the future is really pregnant. Arona. The future is extremely pregnant with a lot of babies. So there you have it. Now, I seriously think there are some people behind this, but I will not say it. Maybe can panel, but no. I'm a team go be by you. But I would not say it. You understand what I'm saying? Ni wakwake village no di magic go get. Wana aneje nyewe go be bi. Aneje nyewe. Yeah. O fa ne to yo te.
But
Ojo wa.
investing your Dubai in Dubai.
Is it? Over Oja Ipano.
Manye had to make Lumo blue.
That guy,
Manye.
That's right.
Bon, we were done. They had banana look at him.
That's right.
Okay, one I need you, one I need Nene, Kafa Medai. Nene, like a baby, and I can need to see, she said, I'm a fee, I have blue free song.
Nagona.
Eko puke wa da flat nye me chebe nye keki ya mi eko puke nye ke ikewa ke wa chifi wa shu eko onye pa no wa chifi wa shu eko if you take na ke yole ke wo onu pa di wo be ke bia nga wa ga chifi ya shu eko mi bi mo mi de ti no ni ya no Kevin Taki mi ese te
sure.
We need to Kevin Taki the biggest problem you can need basic calculate. The biggest problem you the ban no what. Exactly, need basic a cambo which is what you near the malache. In Pamin Bodo money. Let any thing. You are quality when you fit. I'm up the Kevin push around and I'm a fee. And the guy first, baby, and I get first. I get Gbese was in a Paramount too. The Gbese is a Paramount too. No come take at the Tidian challenge. Salia Mukubedi Bata Abayami. Abayami. Come get the regional house of chiefs. Abayami. National house of chiefs. Abayami. If you're not by Abayami, because the man I'm trying just one thing is an amena. Namin woman was shaking. And she a genius now. Will you? And the tankama with you and the you. But I could take Kobosaki you. She a gay thing. I'm on no pair fita in that to Nii Gbese.
Yeah.
I'm a team no profit. I'm a team no profit. I'm a small feel. I'm a tiny. No, I feel like no listen. I'm Mini go kla working on musu. Mini kla game ma ba. Ma ba working on musu. Ye. Ma ba working on musu. Ye. Efe working on musu again. Mini no mono yo. What order? Mini no mono yo. Yes, sure. Yes, sure. And I'm batashi. Na meke. Ejake. Mukonte ayi manche wo. Mukonte ke elimination by lot that is ayi manche na pene wo. Be Nii Gbese sana jile je. No ameta me fie ajile je kuna anya wo mukuni ibanye fi Kevin se. Iba no mene ba no wo. Iba no mene ba no wo. Na ka me ni you of need to think baller. Na ka me fe baller pison. Ambanya me ka court fe court. Abayi ame. Ameli pepe. All this years and again, you have to because we need to say they try catch us and Nii Gbese penny and all. Then we say, Nii Gbese, I find a way now banish. Kona banish. Nye banish. Any Korea say, Nye banish. She ain't a car, can you tell me banish? And she natural shown by a thing if you're meeting if you come in when you're back. I'm not sure no pay thing, many one to Nii Gbese thing, can I say, for ruling houses. I'm a family bambo. I'm a family big me.
Right.
I'm a family because I be me need to teach you that. Jackie, Melco, I'll be like a mini GB in your war, mini view. Not me, Jimmy. In Melco Bay, in Leco, or Leco, I'm a mina, so I was here. Yeah, was here. Yep, when they come, I'm a was here. Oh, only washing. Only washing. Yeah. Only come and make song now. Call you so share much of song now. That me to do you me where what great grandfather in Abidjan. Just a fajaneti. No, only a modu bang, a blue for jam, ne ban when a ban no. I'm a better papa for my matashi. Gaffin, Kaka, raise the funds, getting I guess maybe a bigger beach, Abatashi. She said, no, Yakoka were you to buy because
she cannot name you or Niano Quality Namenke. There was a 1941 agreement. Niyam Susumomi. It's not been followed. Of course, Supreme Court challenged the jurisdictional authority of the regional council, regional house of chiefs. Don't you think they have a case?
Well, that was then. That was then. They've waited. I went in 2007. I remember on the other way 2026. How many years in it? Okay, be an I'm a Benaka right now. Be an Gbese is a paramount chief. No, Banya, I love him, Mali. Nakaisania, it will go against them. Like I'm a team of machine, no, I can get one. I'm a magician. I know many magicians. I'm a big woman.
Yeah, they are there.
No, I may now ask a machine. I'm coming, but I'm a get Senate court. Okay, the lawyer link in my near link, lawyer link, tough flash, Papa, Bulenche, Pa, who's a lawyer, maybe will fit your credibility. Maybe will fit your credibility as a lawyer. You know, fair only about mommy. Excuse me. No fair about mommy as a lawyer.
Right.
Like a son in there, winning. The bonoli. Every time for losing, I fit your credibility. If I mean, okay, say buy her down. Be an enigma now. Yeah. No call pocket I call tell level like of I call let's try to make me go buy ye me will I feel it of I call tell because let's more call to let's more call to pepe it of I can really buy you would no pay damages. But what pay damages say? No need to forget what my name because I'm a tamata going to matana me. I mean not a man yen I can find I call it mina chop at the everybody. Ogbomo can't check when I can go college. You can go fight. Boy, Ogbomo Yashani is an issue. You, Bona. Or shares an or shares when you tell edition on the par. I'm a fan of Vitae, I'm a Fitai, I'm a time by Nii decision. Nii this will no balishing or no balishing. I mean, then I can
I mean, baby, he's not part of this group.
Oh, need it. Monica actually fair, she did like, yeah, left that I will. Yeah, left that I would have got bar. As one of a bullet wool, like a Dukumala. No, need it. It was chance I need.
Right.
No, I mean, another can have your Mali. Was chance I need. No, I did you come correct. Come on, I mean, but when you can, you're nearly unless you again when you can and go to battle.
Oh, yeah, Gbese Mantse, you know, you are Roger. Roger Metal, you are Jay.
No, the just share your Dubai.
But like a baby, and you chair bluff for me, bedgy, and bollick. Oh,
can I bluff for you?
I mean, Choco can in but like I'm like, not tell us she be coming, can me chenny be coming. So, no,
that was one of your excuses. I mean, excuse, many excuses. I'm come correct. They should go and come back correct. I mean, I'm back. Ya no ni ya no ni tete mo ESA Kevin Taki ESA pepe you know it's set ambush me was more about Kalakitas Gamanche because it time Kalakitas Gamanche and my mom mo neighbor ya neighbor needed it 2 days ago and later you know actually ya my mom neighbor they got try for their neighbor touching put in my mom neighbor. But if I talk here, put a J, I took one. If I go back to the one, can I get you share?
That's right.
Would you share? In there, Germany, a forcing, I'm going to Italy, it can league is in League is a power in Gbese, Valley, no. a ban no men a ban no one can fight again, Gbese feel a gainer.
That's right.
Ben Gbese food that if we down with it. Gbese if we would have Gbese just cafe can more me. This cafe can more me. And again, Gbese or more near you, I'm a messalini. Yeah, more than names, yeah, you make a Muslim motion, you call a course only. If you come in, yes, I may you could soon sally. No, come make jail you, Manchena, I will go more now. Get Melina, which I can crab a quite busy about your bushy. I can man, I'm a woman, busy about your bushy. Come Melina Melu. Come Melina Melu. Come Melina Melu, or you come Melina Melu. The ban only Baba. Come to Mamelu. Come make a watch if you watch you have a machine. Mamelu, and I'm a one Baba. Need it in dinner.
Eje, Aguje.
Indeke
Yeah.
wa nte oyente otelete lo wa no otelente
Nyela go ebi.
oh stare minda mofia moshi minda kole fenshi ke nye meni yo panele wakashida anye fen ni tete bo wa don ake ke obapa no wani obagbla ni bi ami ni gachon game anukwali epeni wo yo ebi shida o ifatalo ko bi fe
That's right.
tumo ikashi ako shi oba jomo wa ha me
Okay.
ni te kenkre ama ni enyo no ba wie infio se wa ke ha ni otinto wo manye na akwa aslele kaji oke wo ba wie lele otinto le sani wo manye na akwa ikwani enyeni efi no ko ye dubishi yes ikwani efi no ko ye ke iba je pe ba fi video alo efi la ke ba iba try ese ni iganumu agbe na iba ngo fe wona she family of any shele family of any shele the dabi be bomo me woni me money woni ba je me be bomo no ita je me onu me shi ke family any shele ka me ke be sani ni te ko tule le we ba pa da mo la te faida ni bi onu me shi sani ba de ba pa le fa ke ifula ke fa pa mo yin ale be le no la yi kura ke bele be ko ya don shi ni ye go mi ni e ke me ma da fa ke ni bi oru mi ne fla ke wo yen pa wo bi do se je me oru mi ti je no nu pa family ke fa da mi da fa ke
Yeah.
ni eyi shi ni na ko manche ni eyi shi dan le ke agbe won ni mo le jo pele won ni mo le jo ti gale jo no le mo pe ba de oru mi shi ni je ni manye ko wa nke manye na tutu so yele akele ba mi ji capacity Dzase cancer
Obi Sandy. Obi Sandy.
dabi ni te go tule mini position na tutu so ye jeme odomishi because sani kan ni e ba fe mo fi mo woku eteshi sempe woku eteshi abola woku eteshi odomishi mi no keke eye national tamanye mi no nweshi bi eteshi
Great question.
mi no nweshi bi eteshi ani ni te go tule eje alata dabi eje alata lo odomishi because Ghana yo je mebe nese ba me ama me ya me yukra ni ama me dibi ko me po Dzase cancer ba iwala ya me no
Yep.
yo kan nese le je nese hu here ni bi ko me po Dzase cancer be iwala ya me no mi no ka aja me manye ama me ka na ko ake amen samale ya mla na sani ngeshi bi kenela ka me manye dile sani ko ama me sama manye na ko wa
That's right. That's right.
Because not to do so a better position with that as I can say. Like I could not take on you know about
Egole biane be aga Dzase State Dzase manye. A creative position.
Dzase manye na wo like the me ko so afeke na me fi na ka kusu e. Ndi agbere manye ka aga na bu ke no ba wo boji no. Ni na ka State Dzase manye wo ya ko e wo kusu mi. Wo ya ko e wo kusu mi lo. E gasa thing. Nka ya gasa thing mi ni ko ta bochi ni ake awe ke mo no bo ye ji no. Okay, what move on? Second, I watch ni Gbese onumu mimbi manye o come back na ni the tell my back ebo no kwa ke. Papa le ni taje ana na egbo odo bi se. Una dari nko nke ni Gbese ye nke mepi na ni egbo eyan lo ami na ni papa na egbo ya ke ame prepare manche omo. Nke komo apani money e ba ye Gbese Mantse omo. Iwa me na me o je me ni Gbese ye ni ami kachi ke ni no kwa ban papa le no na egbo. Odo bi se. But that other council poni o je me ni e ya de me mo ko e je me ni le ete represent Gbese. Le ete represent Gbese. Ya ke se be ka se fo ba mo ko ta no. Ari bo na ka fi. Se be mpa se ani ka se fo lolo. Ni ndi Gbese ya ko je be mo ko je me. Be mo ko je me. Oru bi se. Iwo papa le ni o je me ame plan ye yo ato gbefe gbedo keke. Ni aba create loco. Si ni date be ilake ama me ke Mantse po kaje bo yo ne akoba afio se. Iwo mene ba ni mugoni le po bata no a o ka afia bo ne pa kwa ka je le ni. Ilake new system na be ke wo for office e. Ya ke vie na kele ba be na kan be mo ko ye Mantse ni ba fa abafale.
Yep.
Ni ka wo te wie mo ameke le yo bi ame wo ni Gbese keje le yo po wo ke le yo ba fi ese mo ne wa fi ese wo ba ameke na ka me sumo o lu wi ni be no o ka ne wo le ba ona o se ko na ke si agesa ne te ga to za cancel which is to last year you know
the first one last year I made petition got traditional council. Yes.
Nagata be na mo di president. Okay, ni sane na ayo Dzase se sane ayo lente me Dzase wole. Dabi money president ni e ba ta mi na ye sane ye. Le na che ra Dzase wole lo. O me ke mi ye mo. Dabi bomo ni di president ani Dzase fe ni wole ni di wo papa otoga ani le wole Mantse lo. Iwo de ke gbogbo ba je ta de gasa ni ka ye Dzase sani. Ya de gbogbo no ta ye no ba ye sani je you are money je ra Dzase te ni wobo. Je ra Dzase te ni wobo. Dzase no ke le wobo e. Dzase sa ko wo fe ba yo na sa ke ake to lo ba la ka pale. Ake to lo ba la ka pale. Iwo wole be ni asa wo le Dzase ko ni ba wo Mantse. Ni ba do sta ba ka le di Dzase che. Wo papa le jeni abekele wo tora pa le point de ça ne peut faire mobo. Ya ke Mantse ka bi na kreba awole ma ame wa Mantse mu da na me ke papa le ba pete. Ame wole Mantse mu da ni ame ke papa le batu ya ke Dzase che. E chusu ko le. Ame fe na ba fi obo wole fe wo boni je ga Dzase che wo bu e. The original Dzase che wobo da Mantse bo aye moko wa ye Dzase che masani Dabi obanye na kasanie. Enye ne tai. Odumishi, ni Gbese ba gazette le. E na gazette le. Me no make many gazette ni Gbese e a court. Impa. Ne a gazette ni Gbese na me like Gbese Mantse ni e. Esa na yo. Me no am ask you many gazette ni Gbese e. Ni dete. Okay, ene bona. Como kameke anote di kwa ga fo de si me anote di e ba fo amete da ne. Anote di e ba fo amete da ko nda me na ko no ko ni dete. No ni ba na. No ni ba. No ni ba ona. To bo ni nyemi npa yu Dabi kan ji ame amasa ni Gbese na. Dabi kan ji ame na amasa ni Gbese na. Kan ni Gbese fe no ko Gbese Mantse. Ame na amasa na. Netana abako tabi no amepawo amesunation abachole da na e. Ame na amasa ni Gbese na. Be amafo adamala te gazette mi no ni Gbese na ame na amafo mi. Kame dole sa.
See, I mean, so Kame, you if they have a case, like look, will follow the 1941 agreement, succession plan your me, any nigbe say your best you number one, number two, regional House of Chiefs saying I can time any I'm a tano, no me I can time Gbese was a divisional stool, was not a paramount stool. So na can judgment I may pronounce I may pronounce because I'm a very well and I'm better I can send no. Me no I can know or hey I will me what they are saying. There is some validity to what they are saying.
Why did they gazette him then in the first place?
Right.
Impa but me they want a gazette le. Ni atashia ni that branch ni okane ni o na ga no share okay. Ni akese deme awaje mo ko ba yu eroko eye Mantse e fe no ni re ba fi mi no na kata me fe o de mi si ni English ashanku bu school agazet le ne ba English mi te sha amasu ame
yeah
so what mi na me yu na kai mi na me fe na kai kaji di se no ne ba de no papa ya ke wo ba wo le me no lo se Achigia. Brother, I'm a swimmer. I make a bar. We go about 5. Can you not go to a few? Like a sheer dear fair, no chef. She went, may she am not a bit that I wouldn't go to tomorrow. Papa, yeah. How can this work? Now, how can this even work? How can this even work? Benjamin ni Gbese batano. No reason be fear, me na be fear. Akate ni regional churches ni aye ni about ni Gbese Mantse na me feel like again na kane. Why don't they fight for it? Now when ni Gbese no me na be amega. Inche now when ni Gbese no amega. Now when la batano ni a gazette le fait. Why don't they challenge this? Ni one agashi then I need to know challenge. Last year no one year ka mokoni president let a Mantse yo je Raja se teni wole whatever after I use and keabo but what after I use and keabo ni aganga dem onani se ne po ameye thank you very much. This will tell you something. No ba kebo no ko because ko bibia ko me ko ba bo ba jodu na po. Ko ba kebo ko pe ya ba kebo wo gbore. Na ba le mi. Ba amele ni Gbese capacity e gan. Inche. Amele capacity e gan. What me na make task ani e. Me na make man ni Gbese. Me na make ni Gbese kashi akele tapo ba ale. Ni yete wani ka wa bi onu. Na kenya me te twani. Ame show am concern wo pa ne. Ani ka wa bi e.
Nya wa twa Nii Ayi Elesanjine wa denche. So let's call Nii Ayi ke wogbe na ke wo ba cheme ngo ba ke work pa for ngene. Ke oba bi e wo le egule wo bi magamba no mi allergy say ete fi ono vim by me benye yana be ni mi shon gugon fenchi. Mi shon gugon fenchi. Yeah, he want trouble. Yes, I get bo info. There you go. No more. Hey, nyemi mini ya no.
Wo be shi on side.
Nagai. Ishe. You know about you any.
Muni wo dani. Muni ya no ya dani. Kevin le ni fito no fin no. Ni bi ni ya no kole no bi ni. Le no e o se iji omine, e o se geti mine. Si ni be fie le nche ni se bie le nche ina. Anche ni bi ni ya no. Le Kevin ni o se iji o mo na le bene ti umana wa ni la ta ni se big ba ai. Esani ni se be aseto. Na gano o se. Me no akuche yuo, alo ni abache yuo. Ifu amena ni ko ebe na ni Gbese egbo iche. Amena ko egbo iche. Woni fenu la ne ya no fe je. Menenche je mu gba mi. Nke otu fo eche pe mama. Ni kele yu ade ashire ni kajeme. Tu ni se be di fe no nani afite o fe de la ba lequel vient aussi. Les filles no fe no mi no ni nu ko fu ke bo. Donc il ni se be ke e fite ya lo e support do du ba. Tu support le no no o ame o di fe o di. O e ko ni mo du ba. God tell you di dun kutan.
That's right.
E pa e selfish interest. Boni se be no ojene. O go sha adoji. Le ke ri ni ba no ba sha adoji. O ta ki o bo manche na ule manche. No ba ele ba sha adoji. O mi ni go plan. Ni ba. O be yin mo pin ma yi. Ni bi na me fi o ni Gbese ekwo e ba. Ni se bi le ekwo e no ba. Si ko le no bu ba ta si ni yi pa ni yu akeshi. Yu akeshi ni Gbese apa ni bi ni fi o ada chejo ni Gbese je me ni se be ni gaje ni gaje je ba la twa mi ke ni bi e pa la ta fu tu be che mo ke ni bi e pa la ga mu la ni bi ni fi o ke ta je me
over na tree
le manga ma se yi o je ga ni fu se mo
over na tree
se mo ya je manga ma se yi ma jolly me ke ni bi fe oni bi ni fi o ko ni ta e ka yu ni Gbese san bi ni ga fe ni yu ni Gbese san e bi ni bi o no bu o fi na ga awu se mo ta lo wo o bu mu ku o ga me o pa ba yu keke e ko e lo du ba o de tu nka me o je ka ma wo mu ko am ta shi na me ko na me susu ni bi ai na wo ta pa e na yin no ni wo e be lu ko pin ma yu
that's right. Yeah. Ogaleje be boni bo yuele naka no ji boni Nii Ayi yuele o final words dani ma ya kuche ngo
oh ni de come on we nke ebu they should come correct Nii Gbese Mantse ye ni ba ye ba continue ni ba ye ka shi be ni opleji ma wele chechele no ni a plan on yese fe ya me to ba fi folo iza ke ni a plan ni atashi a plan ni to be pavaro ye ame plan na ame choose na ba wole ma chege bi e ba mi me ne ba mi wo nke ko Gbese ba cho ebushi iza ke wo tanshi ina ka no na mi fio ye grandmother ma say abula ba say the same thing Gbese e ba no me ne ba no wo e ba no me ne ba no wo me ni yo Gbese mi na me ke ame fe ame ke Kevin ba fe ko mi ame mali e ba no ni gbe ke na ya ba wani na ko wa ne ya pa utin to fa ke ya ne ya pa le fa to me no ke ya ni ne ya pa le fa Kevin enyi cha akwada na enyi ni ga bia so a enyi ya pa le fa every time enyi le po sa ni ya pa fa e ka gbina no me ba woni ni ya me ni ya na bala se je na pa le un fa Oscar pa bia fa sa ne pa bia un fa aya ni ya na bala se je na pa le un fa ko ke gbina ti se se no ni ya ni ata ko enjoy agbina ni de ti iye mo ngbina
Ishe entu chemeni yo abula patashie wegwe mi noni manyana kowa ejemie look nyenye nini yega ni padi ni taje she's yours leo nyenyena you need to look at it like that leo nyenyena kejenye small ni kejenye ba pale fine but not from that guy no not from him saneni manyana kowa na fe eno hale le choice hale ni no ni ya no na fe ya no anyways akuche over nigga wakpa
Yo, wanda mafia moshi. Ngati oyi wa don beke ne wona ke weda ke bon trafio
Charlie.
si kasi be ba wo Paris by war yeah wa fi okay
That's right.
so boni nyemi baba wie na ka no pepepe ni bi ya no ko yo mi tete ko ba na ke ade o ko bia ne ona ke si won pa fai ni SMP won pale fai bekele ne Glena sane ba ko fi o si na ke ifi busy wo won pale fai bi beke ise ko ni man being craving for no ko I think you need to sani ekwe no ni man be here onumishi because ona asmoni sempre sane wa denche gafe mi ka bonoko odupi como papa le manche no bo frère boni ba fe no ko omi ba fluent o ma fluent o tumo sane mo fiambo smoni sempre sane ona ni ne man bi polente inge gbele no ni ete no mi akeshi money support le no di money e touch your layers ijola wi ni mo fi mo wi wo bi ma chop na no ni make wo che akeshi impa money man bi you akeshi chiwo fi impa ta fa ka meni oku dan yi impa ta me ni afi no konkro adesale anything can happen ye odele mi wanyo parties le bi ni otechi no ko na ba ma spon ye osatu no wanyo kumo ni nta ke si gbe na agbeji o life be na agbeji no ti bia na ni mo abu na ka wale ni ta fa che impa danahun eto bia na je gbe ka bi o ni mambi abena ni mafia mo ke neke sani oyale impa Charlie, there's no harm in try because make we no ni mambi na bo na ekwe no ni mba ni ba fe awunto ekwe bo na ko no petete me wo na sika o cho efi we no domo se dan o ba na no ake ke moko many men are called book and be a PM. Don't say I'm a call, but I'm a ball. Let me walk money the free there. No, impact. When I can be at the point, maybe you mark and can this patient chair still let me be at a catch chair still no further by no pepe. Yes. When I near, God takes at a rock, they put my phone about Timmy Coke and it's a packet. E ka ma me o ma mi na ma mi nu ni bi ni ano ni bi na ayede ye bo se o ni bi shi akeke shi je polete na eche mu ko botu which we say o na ka shi me ko me ni o ja me na ke podo shi je wole they don't even care e gba mi na won ta ga si bi ni that is a sign for you agashi ko e je me polete o ya the value is coming down.
Right.
Overload no be na baleshin because once no eje lo na kan na ba na ba be bia na bo fe desk na ga bo ele onyo cho ye jeme ona ni e numo be ko ne she be ko e ben ka ba ba yo ka ba ke numo be ko you know o ya profa c'est très fa e a fait festival ye ko ke be ni papa de ba de ko be pe no te America ko no te no ba no ko ba ya eko e gbaja le gba mi gbaja onu bi nsi o da ni e ke no ni o da fun intimate je me ni e no o da ni e but mo e ba na gbe fa nye fa ke ni bi nya fi o ye ma se festival nya fi o ni no me na kan be fe fit I target e o da e ba block na kan ni bi aka sa na ke chole no da wonche won pa fa ndete ngbawa bi edan ado wa den che o ko le fe o ma jo wo fe ni e awo wala e ko wo ta wo pe wo yes ba mi fa ni ma nye fe wo fe wo no
chemege nyeme nyefenye yi ana walada minda nyeshi ake wasa oba pe bi e ko wo baba ofole wo ngugun ba gbele fine bona so we'll be back here tomorrow again wo ba you man jo Sunday amen hon ni bi no what you wanna make penny. Look, this is all about money, about the very little nation. Yabola pia me. Look, these people they just wanna you understand what I'm saying? And we'll talk about it tomorrow. We'll be here tomorrow to talk about it. I'm gonna Friday nake wamami me kome ya mokola I purposely decided we shouldn't touch it now. There will be further developments coming low. So we're going to Friday. You know touch it. And Friday, I want us to deal with our politicians. From all the towns, New York, there are problems there. And it feels like for 40 years, with no proper plan. And it's ridiculous. You understand what I'm saying? These are all shikonji in state shikonji ni state hon lelenchen ke fe no de sumo bi no ba na no akin amoko ko bi manche ni ko jeme e ba ke jele ko bi wulomo ni ko ake Gbese kole bi efen ba ke bo ake amele ko Gbese kole bi every single one of them will tell you ake amele ko oniji ba chombo state ko ni state ko nige lele won de kan jeme gbefin state ke ni de fun jeme gbefin no mokola ni mokola shan jeje ne ba fite mokola no wo mami me shi jeme ke bata bia ne wo mami me nye ko e store e mokola don ka me ni bi mamo e ma store sa hin ehun e le won akiki ame so when ya lo womba so we'll talk about it among some other issues. And of course Saturday I will have an exclusive for you on Saturday. It's gonna be very explosive. I'm gonna play you something you've never heard anywhere before, and it's gonna be really, really explosive. I decided not to say anything. I can beg your Numa kwa means Saturday. Saturday, Numa kwa means go. I'm going to play you something. No, Nugo Yaikoda. Trust me, it's going to be explosive. Trust me. I've played you. Look, it's going to be as explosive as the Lord Come tape. Saturday. I think this is going to be the most explosive tape new outside of the Lord Come tape. So Kewo calendar. You don't want to miss Saturday's program. Machanogo mabo no botu, and you will understand why like Kemba Tabi alo akuche show ni wache wulo me. You understand no wani woke like ona no go you wa mini wa you are you mo komani be pie ba na ke eteke no bona wa you are you mo eteke no. So join me Saturday. Saturday, don't make sure you don't miss it. I'm gonna play you something and you will be shocked. Okay, all right. Producer again, can you don't? Anyways, producer again, you don't you don't need you. So, bye bye.